Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here today. My name is Denise. I'm also known as heywigsister on Instagram and Facebook. Today I'm here to talk with you about wig fit. I've been getting some questions lately from wig sisters wondering how they know if a wig actually fits them or not. So I'd like to attempt to answer that question here in this video and talk about my own personal experience and some of the things I've learned on my journey to help you if you're struggling. Maybe you're new to wearing wigs, or maybe you just it seems like every wig you put on doesn't fit you right. So let's talk about the things to look for when you wear a wig to determine if it fits or not. And spoiler alert, this is another one of those topics where it depends is part of the answer, but I'm going to attempt to give you some guidance just because I know how hard it can be. So if you want to hear my thoughts on this and want to have a conversation about it, then stick around. The wig on my head right now is Raquel Welch, straight up with a twist in the color Fiery Copper. One of my all-time favorite wigs. I absolutely love this style. And I have 3 wigs I'm going to show you in this video to talk about how they fit differently. And in the introduction, I mentioned the it depends answer, and let me give that a little bit of context and explanation. So fit of anything, whether it be wigs or clothing or shoes, some of it depends on personal preference and comfort. And so there isn't really any one definitive answer when it comes to how to determine if a wig fits you. I can give you some guidance, but a lot of it is also going to depend on you and your comfort level and what feels comfortable to you. And sometimes a wig may not fit you well or perfectly, but it feels comfortable and you're able to make it work. And in that case, then it's fine. And in some cases, a wig may fit you fine, but for whatever reason, it's not comfortable. And so it doesn't matter that it fits you fine. It does have to be comfortable. And I will also say that in the beginning of the wig journey, wigs do feel foreign on your head. They aren't terribly comfortable in the beginning. I struggled a lot in the beginning. I found them very itchy, hotter than they are to me now because I wasn't used to having something on my head like that for hours at a time. I also found often I recall feeling like the wig was going to slingshot off the back of my head, and I think some of you know what I mean because I've heard many of you actually say that. It feels like the wig's going to pop right off. Sometimes that can be an indication that the wig is not fitting you well, but sometimes it's just how it is in the beginning of the wig journey. You're not used to having something on your head and it definitely feels foreign. I will tell you, almost 4 years into my wig wearing journey now, I never ever have the feeling that the wig is going to pop off my head or slingshot off my head. That's just not something I experience anymore at all. So I know that it was a product of me not being used to wearing wigs. I think that was a big part of it. So if you're new at this, give yourself some time and some grace and just understand that this is going to be challenging in the beginning. It may feel impossible as a matter of fact, but it does get easier the more you get experience, and you will start to get used to having something on your head. Some of us get more used to it than others, and sometimes it's just tolerable. But regardless, if you're in the beginning, it is normal to feel this way, and things will improve. They really will as you progress on this journey. So that said, let's talk about fit. Now, in general, wigs, and I'm mainly talking about the major name brand ready-to-wear synthetic wigs. That's what I have the most experience with. And I do think that there is some variation between synthetic and human hair, and there are lots of different types of caps, and all of the different cap styles do play into how comfortable they are on you and how they fit. And so that's what makes it really sometimes difficult to go from brand to brand or to go from synthetic to human hair. There's almost always education and learnings to experience when you change wigs, wig styles, brands, types, all of that. So I'm not going to get into all of the different cap styles, but I do want to give you guys the context that really what I'm mainly referring to here are the ready-to-wear major name brand synthetics, such as Raquel Welch, Estetica, John Renault, Ellen Villa, Renee of Paris, Noriko. I mean, all of those major name brands. So just to make sure we're on the same page with this. So generally wigs come in what's known as an average cap size. Some manufacturers make petite size, some manufacturers make large cap sizes, and sometimes you'll find an in-between. Gabor, in some of their styles, do have average large and average petite. And so some of this is going to be trial and error, trying to figure out what brands fit you the best and are the most comfortable for you. And their only way to do that is to try them, which is why I'm really glad that there are retailers out there that have great return policies. So I strongly encourage you, when you're new at this, purchase your wigs from a retailer that has a good return policy. Some of the things you'll find are restocking fees, for example. Some retailers charge a restocking fee up to 15% of the price of the wig. But there are retailers out there that do not charge a restocking fee. And so I would definitely look into that. The three major retailers that I have the most experience with that I think have fairly decent or good return policies are Wigs.com. I think they have the best return policy out there, but keep in mind, they're also the largest. Wigs.com is like the Amazon of the wig sellers. So the bigger a company is, the more they can absorb some of the losses that retailers take when there are returns. And so they are absorbing more loss than a smaller retailer can absorb. Please keep that in mind when you look at prices and return policies, and remember what you're looking at. You know, I think sometimes it's really awesome to support a small business, but that usually comes with higher costs. So you have to determine what works best for you. I think Wig Studio One, I don't think they have restocking fees, and I have a pretty good return policy. And Name Brand Wigs also has a really good return policy. I don't think they have a restocking fee either. And again, all of this stuff does change. So always double check the return policy when you make a purchase, even if you've purchased from that retailer before, because their return policy could have changed. And I do believe Name Brand Wigs gives you a good amount of time before you have to send a wig back. So if you're new, it can be tempting to purchase a wig on clearance because of the price, or buy from the secondary market, such as eBay or Poshmark or the Facebook resale groups where people like me sell wigs that they're not keeping. But you can't return those when you buy them from the secondary market, and normally clearance also is a final sale. So until you really get to know this stuff, I recommend you don't purchase from those, or recognize that you may make purchases that aren't perfect for you, and you either figure out how to make it work or resell it yourself or donate it. But that's just my 2 cents. Let's talk about fit now, finally. So all of the wigs that I have are average cap size. But even with that, there are variations between manufacturers and even within the same manufacturer. For example, Raquel Welch is known to run pretty true to average, maybe slightly bigger than average on occasion, but I've had Raquel Welch wigs fit me really small. Likewise, Ellen Villa is normally known to run more average petite and a little bit smaller than average, but I've had Ellen Villa wigs that definitely didn't feel small. They felt true to average. So you'll find variation. One thing I will tell you guys, and a tip for you, is I have a website. It's heywigsister.com, and I have an article, a blog post on my website where I talk about this. And there is a chart that I have in that blog post where I have charted out, you know, how typically the manufacturers run. I didn't create the chart. I found it somewhere online. I've seen lots of people repost it. But basically, you can see what brands tend to run large, what brands run average, and what brands run smaller than average. I'll link that in the description below so that you can go straight to that post and you can start to educate yourself on these things. And so average can span a really broad range. And I think we need to think about this in terms of everything else in our life. For example, jeans. Everybody knows what it's like to go jeans shopping and how hard it is to find jeans that fit you comfortably. And how many times have you purchased a pair of jeans and then you loved them so much that you decided to get that same style in another color and the other color didn't fit you? I know it's happened to me many times. Or a certain brand of jeans fits you great all the time, and then one day you buy that brand again and it doesn't fit you. This happens everywhere. I think we're just so emotionally tied to our hair and to our hair loss that we tend to have a lot less grace for the variances on the wig journey than we do with anything else in our life. And so you're gonna have to kind of go through this like the rest of us. Let's talk about the wig I have on my head, because I will just go on and on and on all day if I don't get to it. So this is Raquel Welch, straight up with a twist. Raquel Welch tends to run very true to average. And for me, when I get a Raquel Welch wig, one of the ways I determine fit for me is where do the ear tabs fall. So this ear tab, here is the bottom of the ear tab and here's the top of my ear. They're almost flush with each other. That is decent coverage for me and it's comfortable. Sometimes a wig will fall really low on me, like the ear tab will fall down here. And so basically it's the top of my ear and the ear tab falls in front of and a little below that. In that case, it's still comfortable for me, but I get much better coverage. As you can see, there's my bio hair. You can see my bio hair poking out. And the higher up the ear tabs fall, the more of my bio hair shows. So that's one aspect of fit that is going to be personal preference. Some people wear glasses and maybe they still wear masks or things like that. And so having an ear tab fall low on you is uncomfortable because it pinches when the glasses arms goes in there. So in that case, I may consider that like the ultimate fit for me because it hides my bio hair, but you would disagree because it makes it hard for you to wear glasses. Does that make sense? Are you kind of starting to track with me why the answer is it depends, and it really does vary from person to person? Another area where fit can make a wig uncomfortable is if you're over the top of your head measurements are a lot smaller than the cap, then you wind up with a lot of extra bulk up here. Now I almost always have some extra bulk up here because while my circumference is average at 22 inches, the over the top of my head measurements are actually very petite. In some wigs, that's not an issue at all. I don't notice it. It doesn't create any gapping. It's not a problem. But I have had wigs where I've had so much bulk up here that it looked funny. I looked like I had a cone head. And I've noticed that in John Renault hand-tied caps mostly, where I will just get that weird bulk here. And so that's another thing that could vary for you depending on the wig. Another area of fit is the circumference and how does your wig fit you around your head. Now, all of these wigs that I'm talking about here, these ready to wear major name brands, come with adjustable straps at the nape that you can adjust. And so you do have a little bit of flexibility on the circumference because you can let it out or adjust it in to make it a little more snug or a little looser on you. The problem in advising someone is, again, comfort level. I am used to wigs being quite loose on me. So if I get a wig that's just a little bit small and it's a little tight on me, that's uncomfortable to me because I'm not used to that. That's not how wigs typically fit me. But someone with maybe a larger head circumference, more on the average large end of things, you might be more used to wigs being really snug on you because most of the average cap wigs are snug on you, even when the adjusters are let all the way out. That's where we may differ. So it's really just trying to determine that comfort level. Some things that you can do to mitigate some of this If wigs tend to be too tight on you and they squeeze your head and maybe give you a headache, if you can determine it's just the circumference and it's not the top of the cap that's too tight, then you could actually cut the adjusters out. That will release a little bit of pressure, especially, let's see if I have one here. I think these are all, well, this is when I've cut the adjusters out, so we'll talk about that. So Estetica adjusters, I have 3 wigs I'll be showing you guys. So Estetica adjusters, let me get to the adjusters here. These are hook adjusters. So you can just totally unhook them, and if you know you're never going to adjust it, cut the adjuster out. That will relieve a little bit of the pressure. That really works well on the bra strap or pull adjusters, because on this one, you can completely unhook it and somehow let it hang. Just make sure it doesn't hang out of the wig, and if you have a longer wig, that won't be a problem. And then there's no pressure from that. But the bra strap adjusters are difficult because there's always a slight bit of tension because it's through that little plastic hooky-doo thing. So in that case, just cut the adjusters. That really will make some difference. It can only make so much difference though, and if a wig is super tight on you, that may not work. Let's talk about Estetica. Estetica is a brand that tends to run big. And this is Mellow. Mellow has been living in her Ziploc baggie for a little while here, so let me comb her out, fluff her up. I don't want you guys looking at Mellow and thinking she looks terrible. This Mellow is, I want to say it's 2 years old, and I have actually worn it a lot. So if you were to purchase a Mellow, it's not going to look exactly like this. Wigs lose some of their wave over time. They flatten out over time. Permatease flattens. So when you see an older wig, it can look a lot different from a newer wig. So keep that in mind. All of the wigs I'm showing you today are well worn and well loved. So Estetica runs a little bit big, and so I actually get much better coverage. You can see less of my bio hair here. Because Estetica runs a little big, these ear tabs go lower on me. They also run big around my circumference, and I tend to have to cinch Estetica wigs in for comfort. Otherwise, they feel too loose on me. And so that is something I know about Estetica. I don't get a ton of extra cap up here on Estetica though, so that's never really been an issue for me. But I find them to be extremely comfortable, and I really appreciate the coverage I get on these, especially if I go outside of my natural hair color, because I'm not going to be able to blend it. If it's this is not a rooted blonde, and my hair color is quite dark, so it'd be hard for me to blend it if I wanted to do tucking and things. But the fact that it covers me really well isn't as big of a deal. Let me show you a wig that doesn't fit me, but I love it anyway, and I've worn it so much. But I have something in my eye. I'm sorry, you guys. It doesn't fit me very well. This is Belle Madame Isabella Mono. This wig has been worn almost to death. I have worn this tons and tons. This is also a couple of years old, and she's been living in her baggie too. But I just love the style. I love the fibers. Belle Madame makes really great wigs, but they tend to run small across the board. And so here's what I mean by when a wig doesn't fit very well. Look at all of the bio hair that you can see here. That's the ear tab way up here. It's way above my ear. So I get very poor coverage on this one. And so I tend to have to make sure that I wear this one down if I'm going to wear it, and refrain from tucking, because it's not giving me very good coverage. If you have bio hair to blend that matches the wig you're wearing, that coverage there doesn't matter quite as much, because you can just pull your bio hair out to blend it. I would have to put root powder on here to blend with this color, which I would do. And now that I've been growing my bio hair out again and it's not buzzed, I can wear a wig like this and tuck it because I have bio hair to blend. When I was buzzing my hair, all you could see was stubble there, and that didn't look very good. So this is where wig fit matters. But if you have bio hair to blend, it really does make a huge difference, and it kind of makes up for a whole lot of problems with wigs. Now, even though this one runs small, it's still really comfortable on me, but I did have to cut the adjusters out of this one to give myself the maximum amount of stretch around my circumference. After I did that, this fits me fine. It does not squeeze me at all, but it was squeezing me before I cut the adjusters out. And I think if I recall correctly, this had the Velcro adjusters, because I don't see, there's nothing here for hooking, and I really think this was Velcro adjusters. So even just that little bit really did help a lot. And so the other thing that I noticed with this one, because it runs smaller, it rides up just a little bit higher on the back of my neck, but it's not uncomfortable. I don't feel like it's going to pop off my head, probably because I've gotten used to wearing wigs, and I just know they're not going to pop off my head. In the beginning, I didn't know that, and that's why I worried about it so much. But with a wig this length, it's just long enough that I don't have to worry about it if it's riding up just a little bit in the back, because the hair's long enough, you don't have to worry about seeing that. Let me turn for you guys. It's just long enough. Now, if you wear pixies, that's a whole different story. And how a wig fits you is going to really matter, because you can't hide a poor fitting cap with long hair. So it is something you'll definitely want to pay attention to if you wear a pixie. And I do talk about that whenever I review a short wig. I always talk about the nape and knowing what length of nape causes you to be able to see your own bio hair and could be a problem. So knowing your hairline in the back and when it starts to poke out of what length of wig is actually going to be really important for you, so that you can make sure that you're not in an embarrassing situation where your bio hair starts to show because your wig doesn't fit you very well. So to wrap this up, let me throw my straight up with a twist back on, because I'm loving this one. And it's becoming fall here, and so I'm getting back into the reds and the auburns. So hang on quick for a sec, guys. Sorry about that, you guys. I started to have a hot flash, and they are so distracting. I just wanted to get through it before I wrap this up. I just knew I wasn't going to be able to power through, so hopefully you'll forgive the little interruption. But to wrap it up, wig fit, while there are some guidelines, it's not hard, and there's no hard and fast rule for how a wig fits you. It's your own comfort and what you're looking to achieve with your wig. If you are wanting to wear styles where you need good coverage, then you're going to want to make sure you get a cap that's large enough that the ear tabs are going to come down and give you coverage. If, on the other hand, you wear long wigs and you always wear them down, as long as it's not uncomfortable and giving you a headache and too tight in that way, it doesn't matter where the ear tabs fall, as long as it looks good. So I wouldn't spend a ton of time worrying about wig fit right now if you're new. I think just gaining experience, learning what you like, what's comfortable to you, and actually just getting used to wearing a wig on your head is going to go a long way in you finally finding the styles that work best for you. So like I said in the beginning, make sure that you are purchasing wigs that you can return as you're learning. And there's really no substitute for trying wigs. I mean, you just have to put wigs on your head to really know. And so if you're, spending, let's say you're 6 months into this and you haven't purchased a wig yet, and you're watching tons of videos and you're trying to educate yourself, you can really only do so much virtually, and then you just got to start trying wigs. If there's a wig shop around you and you can at least go put some on your head, that might be a great idea. Just manage your expectations. Not all wig shops are equal. They don't all have great customer service. They don't all have super knowledgeable people working there. And a lot of them white label their wigs, and so you won't be able to find out what exact wig that is. It's still a good opportunity to put some things on your head and start to feel what wigs feel like, and you'll at least be able to see cap features and know those things. But as far as fit goes, that is going to be a work in progress. And you will, let's say you figure out Raquel Welch fits you great. Well, eventually you're going to get one that doesn't fit you quite the same. That is just part of the journey. That happens. But go to my website and at least look at that blog post that I put out there so you can at least start to get a sense of how the major manufacturers run, whether it's true to average, average large, or more on the petite side. I hope this helped you guys. This was a little bit long, but it's such an important topic. Learning these things, understanding these things, and knowing that you're not alone and you're not crazy. Sometimes you start to feel like you're the only one struggling, and that is so not true on this journey. We've all been there, and I was there too. I struggled so much in the beginning. I cried a lot of tears when wigs did not look as good on me as they looked on Taz and on Amber from Fabricating Fringe and from, you know, the women that I was watching. It happens to all of us, and it just takes time, but you will get there. I know you'll get there. So don't give up and keep watching videos so that you can learn tips like this that will help you along your journey. Let me know if this helped you. Let me know if you have any other questions. Some of my videos are because of the questions you guys ask me. You give me great content. So thanks for watching, you guys. I appreciate you all so much. I'll talk to you soon.